The Whiskey Throttle Show, now available on the Spot Network, an independent, standalone streaming platform, live now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Play, Android TV, most smart TVs, and all phones and tablets. Look for future live shows and specials only available on Spot Network. Download the app today on your favorite device.
Let's talk about 08. This Supercross season, man, you and him, it was just like cat and mouse. Same thing with you. You had the same issues with him where, what was it about that guy?
Honestly,
that he could just...
He knows how to push his buttons.
He can push buttons, huh?
Yeah, I think being young, you take the bait, and you're like, I shouldn't have took the bait. But he played it well. I give him credit because he did a good job playing the mental games, and
Well, he knew he knew, and then he never let up on that.
Yeah.
The frustrating thing was he was also really good. Like that dude could ride a motorcycle.
I will say, in 2005, in 2004, when I came home from Loretta's, I looked up to Jason Lawrence.
Oh yeah.
I thought his style, how smooth he was, how relaxed, how he flowed. I was like, I kind of want to be like Jason Lawrence. I was. That sounds like, but this is like, so I kind of was like, I really like, he was setting the tone for me, and I kind of wanted to simulate. They got the rolled back bars, and try to keep, but. So it's kind of funny. Here we are, 2000. Yeah, he was Suzuki, and so here we are, 2008. Now we're. But my thing wasn't so much with him. I started hanging on to the championship. I was 10 steps ahead of myself. 4 rounds in, had this big points lead, and I just didn't know how to cope with managing a championship. All I could think about was points, and I was thinking about everything else but living right here in the moment.
Do you think part of that should have been Roger and Ian's job to manage that for you a little bit? Obviously you're gonna think what you're gonna think on your own, but I think on weekends, that's part of having that, and I know that Suzuki didn't, it's not like they have had these young kids always. They're normally a 450 team, right? So.
And I think, I agree, and I don't remember the knowledge or advice they were giving me, but I think they were probably trying to tell me all that, but I was just so overwhelmed with the championship pressure that the thought that I expected to, I come into the season my expectations, I want to win this championship. I can win it. I know I'm capable. I got the speed. I can win. And the first 3 rounds went great, but then I started getting ahead of myself, and that's tough for a first time managing a championship when you have it was a 34 point lead. It's like you almost start to play defensive.
You're doing math, huh?
Yeah, you're doing math 5 rounds too early. So it was that, but I will say that not knowing it at the time, that helped me tremendously, set me up for helping me
down the road.
Like that, I would have not changed that 2008, the way Lawrence was, everything. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. It sucked.
Sure,
but
still would have liked that 250,000.
Yeah. What, championship bonus?
Yeah, or 500 or whatever it was.
Yeah, that is the one thing I can probably relate to with you guys. The championship that I lost by only 2 points.
Yeah.
I remember a race halfway through the season, 4 or 5 rounds in, and I get into second. It was at Houston, and Bentley's out front, and I'm closing in on him. I'm like, you know what? I remember he did bad at the first round. I don't need to pass him. Just be smart, get second. That pass would have given me the title.
Yeah.
The minute you're thinking, I'm 4 or 5 races ahead of myself.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah,
do
you race to start to finish. You race it. The best you can. Yeah.
Did you ever have any any titles where you kind of got ahead of yourself?
Titles, but we started Glen Helen, maybe 08.
Oh, no. Was it 250?
250 when Stroop won.
Yeah.
I had won the title before, and I showed up there, and I think that was round 1. And, I don't know if I was either overconfident or just I'm going to take it easy. I ended up getting 5th, and then came back, got my ass chewed by my dad, and, everybody's just and then I think I went out and won Moto 2, with a 1-5. I didn't win the overall, but that right there was like for sure one of those things where I was either overconfident or came in thinking I'm just going to take it easy. You know, it's a long series. You know, like you race every race to win.
The best you can race. Yeah.
Period. You don't hold back here or there or play this card, play that card. It's you play the cards that are in front of you now, right now, and you play to the best ability that you can do.
Man, that is like such. I hope that anybody that's a pro racer or aspiring pro hears that and like learns from it, because it's so true. The minute you're doing calculations, and I'm not good at math anyway, but I'm going, okay, so he lost 25 points, and I got second that night, so I should.
So I think Young, Young being in that position, maybe I would have done the same thing, but I don't think Young I ever had like a points gap like that.
Yeah, that's
what
threw me off.
You know, Supercross when I won 5 rounds early, like I'd already done it. I was older,
So
just different parts of your career. What
was the one thing he did to you or did that like got in your head that sticks with you?
That sticks with me? I think just like I think what would get
his
me
face.
Who?
I'm talking about J Law.
Oh.
It was just like the look of satisfaction on his face when he would win. On the track or with me mentally. I was just like, this guy, he's just holding it over my head. Like he's beating me right now. Like in every category.
He was the bully in in school.
I've never seen a guy, I don't think, that can get into your head the way that guy could. He was really good at it.
I never forget. I was thinking, like, is this really happening? It was at Houston. It was like right when he took the last bit of points I had and got the lead from me. He was pounding on the box, and he was on one side, I was on the other, and he's like, Dungey, yeah. I'm like, why? Like, why do I have to go through this right now? Like, why do I have to deal with this? This is ridiculous. Like,
this is unprofessional.
This is so unprofessional. And meanwhile, Johnny O and they were just so.
They probably never seen it.
No, they probably had never seen it.
No, but they were also just like that. At that night is when it was one of the only times that Roger and Ray Tetherton, they pulled me into the truck, and it was a late night, and sat me down, and I thought, like, I literally thought, like, this could, like, I'm gonna lose my ride. Like,
is that right?
I felt that way. In which, looking back, it's like, well, they're not gonna throw you away. You're a title contender, but. It's hard. It's the one thing. I think that was the one thing for me. I knew that when I got to that stage, that overcoming that pressure, I always tried to prepare myself for the pressure, whether it was whatever that was, and how am I going to manage that? How am I going to offset that? What's going to be the antidote, or what's going to be that's going to, so I don't go down that road and give in to the pressure. And here I am, and I'm living that, and I'm failing, and it was one of my worst fears of happening, and it was happening, and it was just like, it sucked.
Your time almost slows down. You're like, it's happening. What I didn't want to happen is happening.
You know those moments you were like, it's just like, that was happening a lot. Yeah.
Wow. You guys obviously had your issues, you and J Law. What was the one moment for you that was, the Hangtown thing?
I didn't have to deal with him just like him nearly as bad. I think maybe 1 or 2 races or practices, but then Hangtown, I think that was round 1 of that season, I think.
But wasn't something had already happened and they told you?
Something had already happened, yeah. So I don't, it was something little practice or something. We kind of got into it, and then that's where he came out.
Did a start, like, right? And
I started doing something, and we started dicking with each other back and forth, and then I can always remember my dad was just like, well, you just need to put him in his place, one of these times.
That's
put
my
him in
dad,
his place.
yeah.
So, and I'm, I don't like confrontation, and I try to avoid it if at all costs, and then I was one of the, can hear him. You put him in, so we came
your
up
dad's
to the
voice in your head.
top of the turn, and I came into the side of him, and then he came down the hill and right before the old finish, and just stopped, and I was just like wheelied my bike into him. Everybody remembers that one, and we ended up rolling around on the ground, like kind of fighting, but more wrestling, and then we got pulled apart, and then it was AMA and the whole thing, and at the time it was here's the big guy,
the AMA guy.
Mm-hmm. But he was up there.
Can't remember his name.
They fined him, and I think they warned me, and then he had to start 30th or something.
What year was that?
That must have been 8.
That was 2008.
Okay,
yep.
Same.
Yeah, it was like right after me dealing with him. He started.
Okay, yeah.
And I think maybe like the title contender, he thought like I need to get in your head now.
Yeah, maybe that's what. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
I don't know, but
it worked here. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, at the time, I did not like him. I thought, this guy's, what a jerk, And I realize now that we need those guys. We need the bad guys. We need the villains. And we need the good, clean-cut guys. And everything in between. Any kind of personalities and characters that's better for the sport.
It takes all kinds, yep.
So love J. Law or hate him, I think he was good. He brought in a certain fan base. He added a flavor to it. Even if you hated it, you were watching.
Oh, it's something that people talked about the rest of our careers,
Thanks for watching the Whiskey Throttle Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell to get alerts for all the latest content. Follow us on Twitter at W_Throttle_Show and on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Whiskey Throttle Show.